Hello, Sherry Truler with Red Apple Auctions. Today, I want to talk about what should be on that PowerPoint, that slideshow that you're showing when the auctioneer is on the stage selling. Now, I have noticed that throughout the pandemic, there have been quite a few changes with regards to personnel in the development offices. Sometimes that has been slimmed down. Other times it's just been turnover. New people have been coming in. And whenever you've got new people coming in, there is a little bit of a re-education. Sometimes the slideshow is left to be given to a volunteer to manage. Sometimes this is someone who is on the staff, but if they're new, then they may not know, especially if they're fresh with auctions. So what I want to do in this video is do a lot more show than tell. I'm going to pull up some examples of what I think are a good template that you could use for your slideshow. I do, as a preface to this, prefer to have photos up front and center, although you do need to have a full description somewhere. I don't think that having it on the slideshow is the best place to put that. I would rather see the full description with all of the restrictions, deadlines, expirations, anything like that would be in a catalog. And by catalog, it could be just a one-pager of information, but that's where that information should be held. And what we're going to focus on in these slideshows is great photos, because this is about selling the sizzle, not the steak. So we're trying to get people into that mindset of the great time, great show, great energy that they're going to have doing whatever this thing is that we're selling. So with that, let's go ahead and switch to some actual examples. We're going to run through some slides. These would be examples of don't slides, and we're starting with this one. And the big issue here is content. Let's not forget, we've got 200, 300, 500, 1,000 people that are sitting in that room. Ain't no way anybody is going to be able to see all of this on the slide. It's just overwhelming. It's not even fun to look at. You've got way too many words. You've got way too many photos. We've got to pare this down. Now, this is an example I'll just share. It's Sojourn Travel. They've got a consigned trip to Bali. And so they've got excellent photos, fabulous photos. Most of the consigners will have great photos if you're selling a consigned item. You can use their photos, but let's not try to put it all in one slide. Instead, have multiple slides. One photo per slide is great, and then let's narrow down this content and put that in a catalog. And by catalog, I mean it could be a one-page sheet of information, but that is where all of the details should go with restrictions, expirations, all this detail, for instance. Next up, all right, this is much better from the standpoint of content. The top third and the lower third, however, are completely devoted to showcasing your gala name and your nonprofit name. And friends, we've already got them in the room. They bought the tickets, so we do not need to sell them on your nonprofit. We do not need to sell them on your gala name. That content should go away, and we need to blow up this photo and make that more interesting. I'm sure from a design perspective, you know, that this looks nice, it goes with the theme, but from the standpoint of just practicality, I want to sell them, and I want to sell them verbally as the auctioneer, and I want to sell them by visuals, by what's on that slideshow. So content is not necessarily bad. It could be, you know, you'll have more content, of course, in the catalog, but what I'm looking for are big photos, and right now 2/3 of this slide is devoted to the name of the event and the nonprofit logo. Here's another concept. Love the fact that it's a big photo. What I don't like, and it's actually not too verbose, and they've got, you know, their element of this, the hearts up at the top was their theme. What I don't like about this is the black background. Studies have shown time and again for best visibility, you either want a white background or a fluorescent yellow background with dark lettering. That's kind of icky, so let's go with a white background instead of black on white font. White font and black is much harder to read for a crowd to read. We want easy to read. White with black font. And then finally, here's another concept. Okay, no photos on this one, but one that's not even, I mean, it could be added with photo. A photo would be nice for it. But what I really don't like about this is the value in boldface, larger font. Friends, we are trying to get out of this mindset at your fundraising auction that this is a place to get a deal. That fair market value is not the showcase of your package. That's where my eyes go second. New York City weekend, value of the package. We are trying to get people to overpay for these items, and throwing that in front of them is not necessarily the best way to do that. Maybe hotel stay, personalized shopping, $1,000 gift card, food included. Those sorts of bullet points are great. Putting the value there, that should be in the catalog. You need to put it somewhere. It needs to be in the catalog. It needs to be maybe in the display that you've got outside. Don't put it up front and center on the slideshow. That's not a selling point. Not a selling point. What's the selling point is the experience that we're selling them. Now let's look at some slides that I would show, like if I was going to sell a trip, an example of what you could do. So what I'm about to show you is not necessarily attractive from a design standpoint, but I want to get the concept across. You can adapt with it as you need to adapt. But let's take an example of a trip, because very often on our trips we have multiple photos. One photo is probably not going to do it justice. So utilizing that same item that we started with, which was the package to Bali, Indonesia, the one that had all of these photos and content and everything on one slide, here's an example of maybe dicing that up a little bit. So as the auctioneer is up on stage selling it, you've got the slide up here, and the most important things are put at the top. Sleeps 8, it's a home, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, a cottage, 1-bedroom, 1-bath, mutually agreeable date, expires in 3 years as I'm shooting this anyway, expires June of 2025. So that's pretty relevant information. As the auctioneer's describing it, and guess what your sound guy's doing, or rather your video guy? He's just clicking through like this. Auctioneer's describing it. He's clicking through, showing the photos, spending a little bit of time. I don't know what it is, maybe 3 seconds, 5 seconds on each one. Auctioneer's describing it. Whoa, now the auctioneer starts to sell it. Now we're selling the package. And guess what that video guy's doing? He's still just pushing forward on the slides. Yep, still talking about Bali. Yep, we're selling Bali. Auctioneer is selling Bali. We're at $4,000, $45,000, $5,000, and we're still just going through these slides. Forwards. Oh wow, look at that shower, how pretty that is. And we're at $7,000 and the auctioneer's still selling. And this guy is going, oh, look, now we have a vertical photo. Look at that. Look at it. We got a bedroom there. There's another bedroom. Now maybe he's going backwards because the auctioneer is still selling this thing. Can I go backwards? Why am I not allowed to go backwards? Well, this isn't letting me go backwards. Shoot. But normally that's what I say, is just go forwards, go backwards, just until we've sold that item, those photos can be showcased. And in the case of, again, many of these consigners, but if you aren't using a consign trip, that's fine. You're going to pull photos that you can use to do the same sort of concept. Some things are not going to, if you're selling a bottle of booze, you can probably just get by with the bottle of booze on the slide. But when you're selling a trip, you got to showcase this thing. You really want to let the people know what they're going to experience. That's it. So I think if you're using a designer and they understand that the whole point is to sell the items, they're going to create something that is more visually attractive, but still focuses on the item sale and isn't so much about the event itself and making that look pretty. But they have to understand what the point of the live auction is. It's about the fundraising. It's about selling these things and putting their best foot forward. So share that with a designer if you happen to be lucky enough to using one. But if you're using a volunteer, if you're using a staff member, just show them this video. It doesn't have to be fancy. We're looking for something that sells the sizzle, not necessarily the steak. What's going to get people to be excited about this experience that you're putting in front of them, right? For other great ideas, head on over to redappleauctions.com. If you want to reach out, that's where you can do that as well. Look forward to visiting with you about your auction. As always, good luck to you in your fundraising event.